Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about the best selling cards under $5 or less. This is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch, commonly referred to as the Yipisme. The Yipisme. Let's just jump right into it. We have a new card. Shout out to Darkwing Blast that has just recently dropped. We will go ahead and take a look at the whole set here in a bit, see how the penny stocks are looking there. But the Bastille archetype seems to be the main chase archetype, and this is clearly one of the best selling cards out of that archetype, at least under $5. Um, there are a lot of different decks that can utilize this. As here's the thing, like these two, the combination of these two, as well as just the generic use of one of those attributes, it's always been the guy. Like it's not, and I wish Konami would pay more attention to this thing. It's always been one of my issues with Yu-Gi-Oh, mostly because I really like the fire attribute. My favorite decks have always been like Fire King, Salamangreat. Um, I really like Volcanics. But when we look at the support for fire, it's nowhere near the support for even like water or even, earth to an extent. Earth is kind of whack with their support too. Water's got really good support, but none of the attributes have support quite like light or dark. So whenever we get more support for light or dark, it just makes those attributes even better, and it makes the cards themselves even better as well. Um, I think that, I always just think like how cool would it be if all the attributes were as powerful as light or dark. I think Yu-Gi would be a lot more balanced. But that being said, is this card a good card to pick up? I think that if you got it here, it was. Um, it's definitely on the rise. It opened at $3. It hasn't hit that spot just quite yet. Um, if we look down here, 340. When does it hit $4? It's hitting 370, 380 real soon. It's gonna be hitting $4 real soon. I think this is probably no such thing as a sure thing, but this is very close to a sure thing as far as being a good pickup. But this is the penny stock market watch, and I do like to. I don't get as excited about cards that are over like 250. Right? It's $5 or less. Because not only due to inflation, but also technically $5 or less is a penny stock, right? Because it's just so cheap. But um, when we think about penny stock in its base form, it's like literal pennies. But as you can tell, the first card that's literal pennies, I don't even know if we're gonna see one. Yeah, I don't want to go all the way down to the bottom and spoil it, right? So this card, it says listings as low as 260. Those are gone. Market price is 299. It's ahead of that. This is definitely a good buy though going forward. Um, Megatins still doing Megatins thing. Um, is this good for Black Wings? I'm curious about Black Wings. You guys let me know in the comment section because I know there's a reason why there are so many Blackwing cards. They have it's another one of those archetypes. Huge fan base, huge following. Maybe not as big as like Heroes, Dark Magicians, even like Crystal Beast, Blue Eyes, but it still has a really big fan base. But when this card is almost done, you can add a card that mentions Blackwing Dragon. You can tribute a monster, special summon a token, then take. You got a special summon, except Synchros. That's actually not that bad. Synchros, for some random reason, and I'm 100% down with it. I love stuff like this. This is actually kind of what I was just talking about. Kind of, right? Because I was just talking about how some of the attributes aren't as powerful as others. Well, it used to be some of the extra deck summoning mechanics weren't as powerful as others, right? But Synchros recently has gotten a lot of support and a lot of help. Um, this is really good, though. Um, it is a one card Synchro monster, one card level 6. But you do need to tribute something. But there's a lot of monsters you could tribute that end up doing really well. Once again, dark attribute, right? Now, as far as whether or not this is a good card to pick up, we always love to see this. You always love to see this. A card that is this hot right now. I mean, it was 3, 6, 9th I believe that's how it goes. I think it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know. I would assume it goes left to right. I guess it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So either the seventh or the ninth, probably ninth, best selling card under $5 in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And TCG Player is this card. And it's sitting right now at a price of about $3.50, soon to be $4. Um, and they haven't really updated this. That's what that means. But this has a lot of potential because it is in the Blackwing archetype, because it is its only printing, and it's a really solid and powerful card. It's also very searchable, and Blackwing can swarm really well. Like getting one monster on the board isn't that difficult. Also, there's a lot of potential for this card to be utilized elsewhere. I could definitely see that. Um, Even though you're limited to synchro monsters, still fine. Um, Still super fine. Like I said, this is another one of those cards. It's on the higher end of a penny stock, but it's another one that I feel like is a really solid buy going forward. Taking a look, it's mostly just still the Megatins though. If you haven't picked up a Megatin and you're still looking for a reason, I think, what is this? How long has it been on? A month, right? There are very few sets that are this, for lack of a better term, dominant in the penny stock market watch. Like every time we have a penny stock market watch, like I'm pretty confident that this card will be around for a while. But I assume like Darkwing Blast, we'll see a couple of cards in here for the penny stock market watch, and then after a couple of weeks they'll fade out and the good ones will stay, right? The Megatins have been dominating this market watch for like the last month. So if you haven't picked up your Megatins, there's a lot of value there. Not just in the chase cards like Blue Eyes, Ash, and there's other cards too. It's not coming to my mind right now. But just in like these cards, the value cards, like even with a new set in Darkwing Blast coming out, even with the structure deck coming out, um, and the meta changing, and cards like Ecclesia and Alduber and DPE not being, and branded opening not being as powerful, these are still some of the best selling cards under $5 or less. And it's not just because they're bad because they're under $5. No, that's because these are really good cards and people see the value here with it. So if you haven't picked up your Megatins, if you have the money, like I always say, and I try to make sure I say this at least once every video, because I know most people that watch these videos aren't subscribed, right? So that means random people coming in and out. Always spend your money how you want, right? Never let somebody on the internet or on Reddit or on Twitter or Facebook or wherever tell you how to spend your money, right? Because it's your money and you need it now. Uh, All Aliber is on here twice in the top 12. I think a lot of people, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, a lot of people are seeing this as a really solid budget option. Um, but there's also the tier version of branded, or branded version of tier is really more how it's ran. And I don't think it's the best version of tier. I don't really know what the best version of tier is right now. Maybe it's like Sprite tier, Runic tier, or just like pure tier. I don't know. But branded tier is really interesting, but branded in general is really solid. Um, so there's tier right there. So yeah, we're still looking at of the 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Of the top 15 cards, under $5, best selling cards under $5, 11 of them are from the Megatons. So, been beating the drum for quite some time. The thing is, too, usually sets after their first few weeks, few months, go down in value, and then once they come off the shelves, they start to creep up, creep up, creep up. So, just be on the lookout for that. Even if you're not going to get the Megatins, try to get some of these cards now while you still can. I still haven't picked this up yet, and I need to. Well, I think I ordered it, and it just hasn't come in, so that's exciting. I still haven't gotten, for those who've been paying attention, because I bought Steam the Cloak on a Market Watch 2 weeks ago. I still haven't gotten those in the mail. And some of you are like, you deserve, you bought them at 25 cents and they're like $3 now. But it's also like, I don't know. If you have it posted for 25 cents and you're not paying attention to be able to update because the ban list changed what that card's value is, that shouldn't be on me, the buyer. But I'm giving them another week. If I don't get it by the end of this week, though, I'm gonna do a video on how that needs to change. And just talk about it. It's probably gonna be probably another one of my like mini rant TED Talk things. Uh, let's go ahead and talk about this card. Talking a lot about Darkwing Blast. Droll and Lockbird though has been just solid here. And I know that when we're talking about Tactical Masters, it just came out. But this Droll and Lockbird hasn't really moved, and this is a card that it's interesting. This is what's funny too. The set it came in, I feel like it's really good against Runic. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like it's really good against Runic, so it kind of came in the set that it actually counters pretty well. But when we look at all versions of Droll and Lockbird, because of the couple of reprints that it just got, it's at a good spot in value, right? I mean, there isn't a version under $2, but I could very easily see all versions at some point soon being at least above $3, if not 5. And this is the type of card for me. I always equate it to like Nibiru. Nibiru against some decks is garbage, right? Crystal Beast, for example. Crystal Beast, especially like that pure version of Crystal Beast, where we're just trying to summon Pegasus and like Baguska, right? And then that's in set 4 and pass. It's not good, right? But Droll and Lockbird is really good against Crystal Beast, right? We look at tier elements. I guess Droll's kind of okay against tier elements. We look at Sprite. Droll is okay against Sprite, but not fantastic. We look at Drytron, which just got support from the ban list. It's really good against Drytron. So now is probably a good time to pick up your Droll and Lockbirds. If you haven't gotten the ultimate rare version, we don't talk about those because obviously those aren't penny stocks. There are still penny stock versions of Droll and Lockbird wandering around, like this version that we were just talking about from Tactical Masters. Like, I mean, value, insane value. This is just, once again, no such thing as a sure thing, but Droll and Lockbird is just since the dawn of its existence. It's a level 1, so it's searchable. It's a spellcaster, so there's synergy there. There's a lot. But Muckracker from the Underworld, I'm curious about this one too. Can be used for Link Summon the turn it's Link Summoned. Link Material the turn it's Link Summoned. If a monster you control will be destroyed by battle, you contribute a Fiend instead. I wonder, does that work with the field spell, Layer of Darkness? Is that what the field spell's name is? 1 second. I'm going to make a minor tangent. Everybody just give me one moment. That is this field spell's name. So, if you were to tribute a monster you control, you can tribute 1 dark monster your opponent controls. But all monsters on the field become dark. So, if your opponent controls a fiend, then you could I think you could use this. But target 1 fiend monster you control, except it's in your graveyard, except itself. Discard a card, special summon that monster. Also, you cannot special summon except fiends. DDDs! Is DDD support? I think it's DDD support. Is DDD a good deck? That's another one that has a lot of big fan base, but hasn't been super great. This card looks like it just dipped under $5 recently. This has more. There is more. Like Burning Abyss are also run. There's a lot of fiends. And there's a lot of fiend support too. I'm actually just gonna see if I can do a minor tangent. And a lot of guys too ask me how I look up. There's an advanced search button here. That's how I get to the $5 or less, because you can go right here. But I'm pretty sure you can also search by type. You cannot. Let's see if we can go in the description. We'll just do that. Fiend. How many fiend cards are there? So the Evil Twins are fiends. Summon Skull is a fiend. DDDs, like I mentioned. Evil Hero's got a fiend. That's kind of strange. Dark World, which is getting support soon. That could be why that card's actually going up in value, because of Dark World. Burning Abyss, like I mentioned before. And this is the thing. Yu-Gi-Oh's been around for a long time. So, like, just like plant deck with like Spore and like Sun Avalon and like Lone Fire and like Sylvan, not Sylvan, but just plant deck. Or we look at Bee Troopers. Bee Troopers is really just like Bee Troopers, Battle Wasps, Resident Insects, the C archetype, Retaliating C, sometimes Contact C, Max C, right? And so there's a lot of archetypes like that. And when we think of the type like warrior, or Dragon. Like Dragon Link is the first one that comes to mind. But Fiend has a lot of support here too. Um, I'm having a tough time finding it. This is an interesting archetype, the Sacred Beast archetype. They just did a card that's similar to this one. I don't remember its name. The Layer of Darkness though archetype that just showed the field spell. Also is really good. There's a Kaiju that's a fiend. That's right. I forgot about that. This archetype's terrible. The Archfiend archetype is horrible. Um, Kuribo is a fiend, and Kuribo's got a lot of support. So you get where I'm trying to get at with this. And the reason why we're talking about fiends randomly, I'm trying to find one more archetype that's good, and I don't think I'm going to be able to. But the main reason we're talking about all these fiends here, yeah, it's getting pretty mucky. It's getting pretty mucky here in the back. Is because this card is innate and really solid fiend support. And that's kind of what fiends have been needing. A link monster that can be put in your main monster zone, and you can still link summon next to it, but also can be put in the extra deck monster zone. You can link summon next to it. So that's the reason I'm saying this. Like I like the arrows, right? So this is definitely a good card to pick up, but it is on the higher end of the penny stock side of things. It's close to really knocking on the door of $5. And it'll probably be about $5 soon. Uh-oh, here we go. It's this time of the day. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Is this still a penny stock? It is. Okay, because that said 797. I was curious if it was. Um, be wary about this card. I don't see, like, Sprite just won a YCS. Runic Sprite did. It was really more Runic than Sprite. I don't see this card going up in value much more. It could, definitely could. I've been wrong about cards. I've been right about cards, right? At one point it was like $8. I don't know if it's going to go all the way up there before it gets another reprint. So just be wary about this on this card, but this is pretty solid value. And the archetype itself, I don't think is budget yet. No. But it's getting there. Sprite Blue is cheaper. Sprite Elf is cheaper. Sprite Sprint, because good archetypes always get good support, is a little bit up there too. But that's all the Sprite cards, you know? I mean, Carrot and Red are literal pennies. Smashers, you don't even need that many of them, so it's still gonna cost you about $200-300 just to get this core, and this core is nowhere near an archetype, obviously, but there's a reason why this card is one of the best selling cards under 5,000. I think the main reason for that, it's a great archetype, and I think it's a little. A lot of people are underestimating it because it got hit on the ban list because of the Rodent Totem hit. And Ice Revolution Dragon. This is, I personally think that this is Triff's fault, but there is this huge fan base towards pendulums. I don't even know. You cannot pendulum summon monsters like dragons. This effect cannot be negated. You can target a dragon, fusion, synchro, Xyz, or that's it. Monster in your graveyard. Destroy this card if you do special summon that target. That's pretty good. No, that's really good actually. There's a lot of good dragon, fusion, synchro, Xyz. Like off the top of my head, there's a Blue Eyes fusion that's really good. There's other good fusion dragons, but there's a Blue Eyes fusion. There's like a twin one that can attack twice. It can't be destroyed by like battle or something like that. Borreload Salvage Dragon is the first one that comes to mind for that. And then for Xyz monsters, I can't think of any great Xyz dragon type, but they're the big ones. There's like a big one that's like the full armor metal, like the Photon one is pretty good. So there's a lot of good targets for that. It'd be kind of weird something in Xyz monster. It'd be kind of weird something in an Xyz monster off of that, because you obviously wouldn't have any material. But Fusion and Synchro could be really good. Can I be normal summons that must be special summoned or special summoned by tributing 3 dragon monsters, and they have to be that? What level is it? Oh my! I'm not looking up. 12. Okay. You can. No other card game does levels like this. Like it's cool. It looks cool for sure. But most card games are just like this costs 5 mana and there's a number 5 and it's circled and it's colored blue. You're not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because how do you pendulum summon this? What card pendulum summons this card? But you could discard this card, pay 500 life points. There it is. Add one level 8 or lower dragon monster, dragon pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. Gains attack and defense equal to half your opponent's life points. Those aren't the same. Those aren't together. Once per turn, you can pay half your life points, shuffle all cards from the field. And okay, so you can get this card out. It's pretty insane. It has a cool pendulum effect, which is cool too. But I think the main reason we're here is for this. Just Rotas for dragons is always really cool. And not only is it a Rota, but it's actually better Rota because Rota's only level 4 or lower warrior. This is level 8 or lower dragon. Shot up in price. People love pendulums though. Is this a good time to buy? Honestly, probably. It looks like it's recovering from a buyout. But here's the thing. When buyouts happen, one of two things happen. It recovers from buyout well. People undercut until it's back at its original price. Or people, when it recovers from a buyout, people take advantage of that and they push it. We do see here on the back end, some people are trying to sell this card for $8 or $9 to $10. And it could very easily be that very soon. The reason for that, not only are pendulum, just in general, based decks very popular, but Performapal Odd Eyes cards are. And this card searches a lot of really good cards. I mean, if we wanted to, we could actually, real quick, try to do this as fast as possible, because it had to be a pendulum monster as well. We can't search based off of that type, can we? We can. We cannot. Wait. Okay. I should have searched for fiends that way. I just realized. It's okay. So anyway, we'll do this. We'll try to see if we can find a little bit. Dragon. Search. See how many pendulum monsters. See that the new Chaos Emperor Dragon's a pendulum monster. There's a lot of good fusion. This was the no, that wasn't. There's a lot of good fusion synchroning seas monsters that card honestly can summon. All of these cards too are dragons. I forgot about that. Like Magister, Dynaster, Ignister. Those are all dragons, and those also can be summoned off of that card. I don't think Hope Harbinger needs a material to negate a spell too, so that's another good card to summon off of that. I'm trying to look for the pendulum monsters that it can search. I don't know if we're gonna find it though. Yeah, and if not, I'm not gonna spend all day doing this. Because I know there are a lot. But let me know what you guys think. We didn't actually look at Darkwing Blast. We're gonna be doing that next week. If you guys want to see that, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe, just so you make sure you can see that, not miss any of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny Stock Market Watch. Make sure you guys click that like button to show your support for the channel. Most importantly of all, as always, have a good day.